is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
A drive to left field. Nunez with a three-run blast. Twins were down 2-0 going to the bottom of the eighth, but the Nunez homer put them up 5-2. The huge rally gave them a win, a much-needed win for the Minnesota Twins. And Eduardo Nunez continues his hot stretch for the Minnesota Twins in a double along with that three-run homer. He's now batting .331. This is game number 4 as the Twins look for the split in the series and hope to get some traction back here on their home field. This Twins and Blue Jays series is presented by Echo Outdoor Equipment. The pitching matchup features Marcus Stroman of Toronto, the New York native. Career-wise is 19-7, but last time out, 7 runs and 13 hits against Tampa. He'll be opposed by Phil Hughes, 6 1/3, just 1 run against. Last start on the road at Detroit. Welcome inside the ballpark here at Target Field. I'm Kevin Gorg. It is a steamy Sunday afternoon, and speaking of steamy, Eduardo Nunez, probably not the first name you thought of when you came into the season looking for big punch in the lineup for Minnesota. Sano, Plouffe, Dozier, Mauer. Now, this has been the guy that's been the most consistent offensive weapon. He's getting it done with his speed on the bases. Like yesterday, he's hitting for power. Eduardo Nunez, .331 with 4 at-bats officially today. Could be in the top 5 in American League batting. Pretty impressive stuff from a guy that was projected to be a utility guy. And we talked to his manager, Paul Molitor, earlier today about the contributions and what's been clicking for Eduardo Nunez.
It's a good feeling for a manager to be able to go to a player like that. You know, first of all, you try to find him at bats when everybody's healthy, and then you lose your third baseman for a while, and then you lose your shortstop for a while. And, you know, he plays like a guy that's not, overly affected by facing tough pitchers or late game at bats. He's just kind of has that experience thing. I don't know if the Yankee thing was part of that, postseason play, some of the things he experienced that kind of allowed him to go out there and just be himself. But it's been really a big boost for us to have him play and step in the way he has.
We'll see if Nunez and the Twins can build out the momentum they created yesterday. One of the key matchups will be Jose Bautista against Phil Hughes. When we come back, Dick and Bert will tell you who has the advantage with Bautista and Hughes.
Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. It is another gorgeous afternoon for baseball at Target Field, and the final game of this four-game series, the Twins hoping for a split of the four games with another win here this afternoon. Phil Hughes will take the mound for the Minnesota Twins, and he'll try to somehow keep Jose Bautista and his teammates in the ballpark. Good Sunday afternoon to you from Target Field. Dick and Bert with you for the final game of this four-game series. Phil Hughes hoping to pitch deeper into the ball game here today, but yet just as effectively as he pitched in his last start against the Tigers.
You know what? In his last start against Detroit, now 3 starts prior to that, he did not pitch a lot of innings, and that right shoulder, he said, has been bothering him. Well, he took the shutout into the 7th inning, gave up a triple to Cabrera, a sacrifice fly to Martinez, and then he kind of took himself out of the ball game with 75 pitches. Hopefully he can go more than 75 pitches and quality pitches here this afternoon.
Again here today, Jose Bautista is the leadoff man for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he does not swing the bat like the prototypical leadoff man.
No, this guy swings hard. You know, we'll watch him here this afternoon. And against Phil Hughes, Hughes has had some success against him, but Bautista hitting .358 here at Target Field. 13 home runs. No opposing player has hit as many home runs here at Target Field than Jose Bautista. It'll be an interesting matchup between Bautista and Hughes this afternoon.
There's a long road ahead of the Twins after their poor start in 2016. They'd like to step forward and start winning at home and hope to win the final 2 games of this series with the Blue Jays. weather in Minneapolis. It doesn't look like there's a cloud between here and Wisconsin or here in South Dakota. Gorgeous day for baseball, and this Sunday Blue Jays and Twins game on Fox Sports North is presented by Super America. Get your Not-Whole Kids Day vouchers at any local Super America. John Gibbons managing the Toronto Blue Jays, and he is managing a last place ball club, but the Blue Jays are just 3 games under the 500 mark, and they have 10 more wins than the Minnesota Twins. Here is the Menards batting order for Toronto. Jose Bautista leading things off, then Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion, Michael Saunders, Troy Tulowitzki, Justin Smoke, Russell Martin, Darwin Barney, and then Kevin Pillar.
And that lineup right there facing Phil Hughes this afternoon, making his 9th start. First 2 innings very important for Phil. These are the innings that he has struggled the most so far this year. First 2 innings, he's given up 14 of the 28 runs he's allowed this year. He is making his 24th career start against the Toronto Blue Jays. That's the most starts against any opponent.
6-8 in ERA, 4.69 against the Blue Jays, and right out of the chute he faces Jose Bautista, who predictably swings at the first pitch, a fastball, and fouls it back. Paul Molitor in his morning radio show talked about the key for Hughes here today, and it is to more regularly maybe than he normally would, mix in the breaking ball. There's another fastball, 1-1.
And again, if you go in on Bautista, you have to go way in. Pat Dean made one mistake yesterday, and that was a breaking ball that he did not get in far enough to Bautista, and he hit the 2-run home run to give him the early lead.
3 fastballs and a 2-1 count.
Bautista, a guy that stands right on top of the plate. You can see where that back right foot is.
Drilled to left and deep. He's done it again.
Unbelievable.
For Bautista, just his 2nd home run against Phil Hughes, but his 14th here at Target Field. And he saw what, 4 fastballs, right?
Well, you know what? Bautista hitting in the leadoff spot in this series for the first time as a leadoff hitter since 2010. And it's paying off for him. He is swinging a hot bat. The average down, but a line drive home run right into the flower bed over that left field fence.
Now Donaldson bunts up the 3rd baseline, trying to follow up a home run with a bunt single, and he ran out of the box. As we suggested to you yesterday, he was ejected in the 1st inning of yesterday's game when he got jammed and hit a ground ball and didn't hustle to first, and he heard about that on his way back to the dugout from the Twins dugout. He addressed the Twins dugout in not polite terms, and apparently the home plate umpire Toby Basner thought he was directing the profanity at him and threw him out of the game. 1-1. So my suggestion would be let's start chirping about Jose Bautista, see if we can get him tossed out, and he's already hit a home run. To center and deep. Santana back. 2-0. On another fastball.
Yeah, that's a little slider or something that stayed up right there. And Donaldson hitting his 11th home run after Bautista hit his 10th. It's the 4th time this year the opposing team has hit back-to-back home runs against the Twins pitching staff. So early in the ball game, first 2 hitters. You see the breaking ball stay right there, and Donaldson took it to straightaway center.
And now Encarnacion pops it up near second base. Dozier, the second baseman, in short center, makes the catch 1 away. Just a footnote, Donaldson, as he crossed home plate, had an extended glare into the Twins dugout, as if to say, how was that for a trip around the bases? Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And Jose Bautista now with 14 home runs here at this ballpark. Carlos Santana, Miguel Cabrera very high on the list as well.
You know what? Think about it. Bautista's a free agent at the end of the year.
Pay him $25 million and don't even put him in your lineup, just you know, so he doesn't hit him again.
Well, he doesn't have to play road games. Just let him play here.
2-0 very quickly, and now Saunders takes strike 1.
Yeah, Saunders has hit a couple home runs in the last couple ball games. He has 8 on the year. For the Toronto Blue Jays, they have hit 58 home runs now and just given up 45 as a ball club. And Phil Hughes giving up home run number 8 and 9 on the season. And again, first inning troubles.
Left to pitch up, fouled back, 1-2.
Hughes made his major league debut against the Toronto Blue Jays back in 2007 when he was with the Yankees. Ended up losing that ball game to A.J. Burnett 6-0.
And now 2-2.
And most of his 23 previous starts came in a Yankee uniform.
And now a full count. Here's what Bert was talking about. 11 runs allowed in the first inning, and it's tough. This Twins lineup has had a tough time getting going to begin with, and it doesn't help matters when the starting pitcher gives up early runs.
Yeah, again, he's given up 30 runs this year, 16 in the first 2 innings. So yeah, it's been a problem for Phil Hughes.
Fouled back, the at bat still alive.
Saunders kind of having a breakthrough year. Last year, again, played in only 9 ball games, had left knee surgery that put him out almost the whole season. Played a little bit in the minor leagues for rehab, but that was it.
And ball 4. Saunders reaches on a walk, 15 pitches into the afternoon, and Hughes so far has just the 1 out.
And you know, Hughes excellent control, only his 9th walk in 43 innings pitched.
Troy Tulowitzki will hit next.
Average down for Tulowitzki, but still 8 home runs. He's driven in 22.
There's strike 1 on a cutter.
And that's the pitch that Phil really hasn't had control of this year, to where in 2 previous years, especially when he won 16 ball games a couple years ago, had excellent control. Walked only 16 in 209 2/3 innings.
It's to left and deep. Grossman chasing it, won't get there. To the wall, to third is Saunders. He'll be waved around, and it's 3-0. A double by Troy Tulowitzki.
Saunders at first base got a great read on that. He was right around second base by the time he saw that the ball was going to get over the head of Grossman and bang into the wall. So Saunders scoring the 3rd run of the inning. Tulowitzki with his 6th double, driving in his 23rd run. So not a good start at all for Phil Hughes and the Twins. It's another pitch that just kind of hung right there. Tulowitzki goes down, and the guy has tremendous power. Running out of room is Grossman, and he has to play it off the wall.
2 home runs and a rare walk by Hughes, and he's paid for all 3. There's a pitch up and in, ball 1. Justin Smoke, the batter.
Smoke, a switch hitter, hitting better as a left-handed hitter, where he's hitting .308.
And a pitch left up, a foul back. Northland Ford Twins defense. Robbie Grossman has found a home here in Minnesota so far after a couple of games. He's back in left, Santana in center, Arcia in right. Miguel Sano getting the day off. Plouffe, Nunez, Dozier, and Mauer the infielders, and Suzuki behind the plate. 1-1 to Justin Smoke. High fly center field. Will carry out to Santana for out number 2. And now Russell Martin. Martin off to a very poor start offensively, but he's caught all 4 games of this series. Twins facing the Blue Jay rotation that's been very good. The exception, R.A. Dickey. And when Dickey pitches, Josh Thole catches. And when R.A. Dickey doesn't pitch, Josh Thole doesn't catch.
Doesn't catch, no. Oh, yeah, Martin off to a slow start in his second season with the Dodgers, but he's a 4-time All-Star, twice with the Dodgers, once with the Yankees, last year with the Blue Jays. Last year, caught 129 ball games, hit 240, and 23 home runs.
To the right field corner, chased by Arcia, and he makes the catch in the corner. Quick start for the Blue Jays. Couple of home runs, an RBI double, and a 3-0 start in the series finale. Runs throughout this 4-game series, 2 early ones, one by Bautista, one by Donaldson. It's a 3-0 start. The Menards batting order for the Twins. Brian Dozier leading things off, and Eduardo Nunez, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Young Ho Park, Robbie Grossman, Oswaldo Arcia, Kurt Suzuki, and Danny Santana.
And Marcus Stroman on the mound here this afternoon for the Blue Jays. He, like A.J. Happ yesterday in his start, coming off his worst start of the year, that against the Tampa Bay Rays in his last start. The Tampa Bay Rays just kind of destroyed the pitching staff of the Blue Jays in that 3-game series. But this young man right here, he can fire that baseball. He'll come right at you. Good fastball, little cut fastball, slider, curveball, and a good changeup.
Fastball called a strike, and it's 1-1. Terry Ryan with some pointed comments about Brian Dozier before the game today, saying the Twins have to get him straightened out. He's way too pull conscious.
I think he used the word fixed. He needs to get Brian Dozier fixed. Don't know what that will entail, but until Brian Dozier, and even Terry Ryan said he's pull happy. He's, you know, they're pitching him away now, and he's just still trying to pull everything.
In front of Donaldson, and a good play by Josh Donaldson. What a play. A swinging bunt, and Donaldson barehanded it, fired across to get Dozier one away.
Last year Toronto went to postseason because they said when they made this acquisition of getting Donaldson over in a Blue Jay uniform, he brought a different level of determination and desire. And that was an outstanding play by the third baseman, Donaldson.
One down. That'll bring up Eduardo Nunez. Nunez, the bright spot in an otherwise disappointing lineup in terms of run production for the Twins.
Yeah, there were 2 guys that got huge hits in that 5-run 8th inning. Danny Santana with the 2-run double tied the game, and then Nunez with that 3-run home run.
Hot 2 hopper to Barney, 2 away, and that'll bring up Mauer. Northland Ford defense for the Blue Jays. Michael Saunders in left field, Kevin Pillar in center, and Jose Bautista in right. Donaldson, Tulowitzki left side of the infield. Barney, Smoke on the right side, and as we mentioned, Russell Martin behind the plate. 2 down, Mauer at the plate with Stroman having gotten 2 outs. Just a few pitches here.
Stroman again making his 10th start. He's pitched better on the road than he is at Rogers Center in Toronto. On the road in 4 starts, he's 3-0 with a 2.79 ERA.
Modest numbers for Joe. The on-base percentage very good, of course, with the walks. 1-1.
Joe 2 for 8 so far in the series with a RBI. Really struggling in the month of May. He's hitting only 190 in the month of May, where he hit 221 in the month of April.
321
or 321. Excuse me.
2-1. You're excused. Just off the plate, 3-1. Paul Molitor brought up interesting. It's not an original thought, but it's the first time I've heard it from him, that Joe's not getting the strike zone that he used to 4 or 5 years ago. That those borderline pitches, like the one we just saw, often now are called strikes. Joe has the reputation of having a very good eye at the plate, but Ron Gartenhire used to think that when Joe moved out from behind the plate, he lost some of those borderline pitches as a hitter. Full count with Plouffe on deck. And there's a walk with 2 gone.
Yeah, there was a story one time about Ted Williams, where he was at the plate and the pitcher thought he threw a pretty good pitch, and he asked the umpire, he said, "Listen, son, if Mr. Williams didn't swing at that pitch, it was a ball."
There's Plouffe, the average down to 255.
And there are certain guys, I know Tony Gwynn and even Rod Carew had great eyes at the plate as far as what's a strike and what's not, and umpires respected that.
It's one of the challenges for Miguel Sano, and one of the reasons he's taken out of the lineup here today. The Twins feel, and Sano certainly feels, that he's not getting the benefit of the doubt on those borderline calls. The Twins feel Sano's got a pretty good eye at the plate, and while there are a lot of check swings, you don't see him take a full swing at a pitch well off the plate or out of the strike zone. But there have been a lot of called third strikes for Miguel. 2 quick strikes to Trevor Plouffe.
I think it was here the other night that he questioned the umpire. He kind of showed the umpire up. I believe it was Andy Fletcher. Ended up striking out later on a high breaking ball. We showed it was a strike, but the strike may be right at the edge of that up and in strike zone.
Sometimes hitters have to earn that reputation. Remember Matt Lawton? From the day he got here, it seemed like he got the benefit of the doubt on those close pitches around the frame of the strike zone.
Borderline pitches, yep.
Chopper to short. Easy play for Tulowitzki. And the Twins take a 2-out walk, but leave Mauer aboard. It's 3-0 after 1. Did a good job yesterday. Didn't get the win, but he gave the Twins a chance to win. Pat Dean will join us from the dugout next. Twins hoping to get a split of this 4-game series. They won yesterday largely because Pat Dean, in his first major league start, found a way to control this very potent Toronto lineup. Darwin Barney, the first batter, and he fouls it away. Pat, congratulations. You did not get the win, but the Twins got the win, and thanks largely to a really good outing for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that, and just want to get out there and do a job, give the team a chance to win, and luckily we were able to pull it out at the end.
Hey, Pat, Burt Blyleven here. Listen, when you started yesterday, I know you were probably very, very nervous, but did the outing here in your major league debut against the Orioles and then the 5 1/3 innings that you pitched in Detroit help at all?
I definitely think so. Getting that first one out of the way against Baltimore, against a really good lineup. I know I gave up a couple runs, but it still gave me a little bit of confidence to go out there and get one under my belt and prove to myself that I can get guys out here. And then definitely that outing I had in Detroit really added to that confidence level against a really, really tough lineup with a lot of guys that are some very good hitters. So I think that definitely helped to prepare me for my start yesterday.
Now, yesterday you gave up only 3 hits. I say you only really made one mistake, and that was that ball to Bautista. Did you try to get in a little bit further than you wanted? I'm sure that's what you wanted to do, get it in a little bit further.
I was trying to get in with that slider, but I wanted to get it more of a closer to a back foot than leave it up where I left it. Kind of got ahead of myself trying to do too much with that pitch with the guy on second base, and just leaked away, and my arm kind of couldn't catch up. Left that ball up over the plate, and he did what he does with it.
Arcia catches a line drive. Hey, Pat, I want to ask you something, because we talked about it both in your debut and then yesterday too, that something apparently clicked for you last year. Your numbers at AAA were so much better than they had been at AA. What's the reason for that?
There's a couple of things that kind of went into it. I really struggled in AA, lost my confidence, and it really got to the point where I would get out into the mound and say, okay, what innings are going to fall apart this time? And it wasn't really a good feeling at all. But went into the off season. My wife was a huge help with trying to get me back on the positive mental side. She really got me to get back to appreciating the game and enjoying myself, and realizing that I'm lucky enough to be able to play this game for a living.
Other line drive. This time Arcia can't catch it, and Pilar has an extra base hit, the 4th extra base hit for the Jays, first time through the order.
Yeah, and everything has been hit in the air off of Phil Hughes, who's a fly ball pitcher, but the Blue Jays right now getting the barrel of the bat against Phil Hughes. But Pat, 140 minor league starts, that helped you a lot too, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely got some seasoning down there. Learned a lot about myself as a pitcher, and I think a big help too was playing winter ball in the Dominican, being able to talk to a lot of older guys on that team, and face some really, really good lineups. Learning how to pitch inside has been a huge help for me.
Pop up short center field. Nunez out, Dozier out, and it is Nunez who makes a basket catch for out number 2. Hey, what was it like? Because through your whole professional career, you'd been just a starting pitcher, and in your first couple of outings, you had to come out of the bullpen. That had to be a unique experience for you.
It was definitely a different experience, but the guys down there were a big help. Kinsler got called the same day I did, so he kind of took me under his wing while I was in the bullpen, and any questions I had about a routine and things like that, he was great with. So they definitely helped ease me into that situation, and all I wanted to do was take advantage of what opportunity was given to me, whether it's in the bullpen or in the rotation. I just wanted to be able to come up here and contribute any way I can.
Now your next start, I think, is going to be Friday in Seattle, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
And you said that growing up in Connecticut, you were a big Yankee fan. So you'll be pitching against Robinson Cano Friday night in Seattle.
Oh yeah, great hitter. And I know a lot of the Yankee fans were kind of upset that he left, but he's a great hitter and took advantage of a good situation for himself. So I'm excited to face him.
Pat, we'll look forward to your next start. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you very much, guys.
Success, Pat.
I appreciate it.
3 extra base hits and 3 runs in the first, and now in the bottom of the second, Byung Ho Park, Robbie Grossman, Oswaldo Arcia will face Marcus Stroman. And on the outside corner, a 93-mile-per-hour fastball, strike 1. He's 5'8", 180 pounds they list him at. Where does he get his power to deliver low to mid-90s fastballs? There's a liner to left caught by Saunders, one away.
Well, like anybody that size, he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of determination. He also has very good leg strength. And Marcus Stroman, only 25 years old, trusts that fastball. 58% of the time he has that fastball. Then he'll mix in the curve and the change. He'll change speeds with that. The hard slider. And then he came up with a little split finger and then occasional cut fastball. So assortment of pitches, but young man has struggled a little bit with his control. 18 walks in 63 innings pitched.
1-0 to Robbie Grossman. 4 hits, 7 at bats as a Twin, and he takes outside 2-0. Twins a shortstop of the future, and it might not be that too far away given where how well he's doing in Class A ball. Nick Gordon, his father Tom Gordon, was about the same size, and Tom would throw in the mid-90s, had a wicked curveball.
Yes, he did.
And so you look at this young man, and you can't, at least I can't help but think back to Tom Gordon, and first as a starter, then as a closer, really had electric stuff.
Well, Stroman's slogan, this is what he came up with: height doesn't measure heart. So it doesn't matter how tall you are, it's what you put into every pitch. And do you use your heart in there and determination, as I mentioned. This guy has a lot of personality.
3-2 to Grossman. Arcia will follow.
Plus, he's an educated man. He just picked up his degree at Duke University.
Breaking ball missing. It's a second walk. This time Grossman will go to first, setting up Arcia with 1 out. The Budweiser Roof Deck is the ultimate Minnesota Twins outdoor experience. The roof deck is available for your group of 250 guests on both Independence and Labor Day weekends. Your clients and staff will love the sweeping views, amenities, and large fire. Everything you need for mixing game time with social time. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups to learn more. Arcia takes a fastball, strike 1.
Yeah, Arcia has been struggling. No hits in his last 18 at bats. Average down to 213.
Just missing 1-1.
Stroman making his second career start against the Twins. He faced the Twins a couple years ago in Toronto. Actually, his mound opponent that day was Phil Hughes. He lost 7-2. Gave up 3 home runs in that ball game. Excuse me, 1 home run. Josh Hamilton gave up 3 runs.
Grounded foul. 1-2. Not too many pitchers wear the number 6.
No. He was Toronto's #1 pick back in 2012 out of Duke. 22nd pick overall by the Blue Jays in that draft.
Fouled away, a breaking ball. Pretty good breeze blowing in from right field. I'm guessing what, 20-25 miles per hour blowing in through the plaza. One and 2 to Arcia.
See if Martin wants that ball up in the zone. That's what's been giving Arcia a lot of problems. That good fastball up.
Drilled to right center field. Grossman around second, on his way to third, going into a slide. A nice pickup by Bautista, and that will hold Grossman at third base.
Oh, Arcia getting a fastball, but is left out over the plate. Getting his first double of the year. They're replacing their divot out there. So Arcia ending an 0 for 18 little slump he was in. And hitting the ball sharply into right center.
That was a high fastball. This time Arcia caught up with it. Good play by Bautista. If he just simply backhands it. He's running toward the warning track. There's a chance that the Twins try to send Grossman to score. So he went into a slide, popped up, got it back to the infield. Second and third, one down for Suzuki.
And again, Suzuki one hit away from 1,000 in his career.
Inside, ball one. Hitless his last couple of ball games. Twins need to get something out of this. Trailing early 3-0. Just to get one on the board would be a big help. And there's a strike, 1-1. Stroman, a career mark of 19-7. Before his last start and a loss, he went 16 starts and won 9 ball games without a loss. Usually gets his outs on ground balls. Infield playing back up the middle. They'll concede a run here on a ground ball. And there's a ground ball. Grossman scores. And Arcia goes to third. Suzuki doesn't get a hit, but he gets his 10th run batted in of the year. And that'll bring up Danny Santana.
And a productive out right there by Suzuki, picking up the RBI.
Now Santana, who has 5 bunt hits, even with 2 out. Donaldson's in on the grass at third, and Smoke's cheating in a step or 2 in front of the baseline at first base. Strike over the inside corner.
Santana 5 for 11 so far in the first 3 ball games. A double, a triple. He's driven in 4 runs, 2 big ones yesterday that tied the game in the 8th inning.
Boy, that was a big double.
And most importantly, that was a right-handed hitter. Only his second hit.
The other, a bunt single, now is a lefty. 0-2 quickly with Stroman on the mound. And missing inside.
Martin sitting inside again.
Fastball. It's a swinging strikeout. Robbie Grossman has a good plate appearance, draws a walk, eventually scores, and it's 3-1. North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. And by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And a first pitch strike to the leadoff man here in the 3rd inning, Edwin Encarnacion. Encarnacion popped up to Dozier in short center field for the first out of the first inning after a pair of home runs against Phil Hughes started the inning.
Yeah, Encarnacion came into this ball game 15 hits and 42 at bats against Phil Hughes, hitting .357 with a home run.
Foul back. We want to pass along happy birthday wishes to a guy who figuratively sat in your chair for a couple of years. You shared broadcast duties with him for 1 year before you took over full time. Tommy John turns 73 today.
Happy birthday, TJ. They named a surgery after him, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. He won 288 ball games. I'm surprised that he is not in the Hall of Fame. Along with Jim Cott.
Yeah, 283 for Jim Cott.
Yep.
And oddly, I think because of the surgery, the man ought to be given some extra consideration for the Hall of Fame.
I agree. They inducted Dr. Job into the Hall of Fame.
They did?
Yep.
In Cooperstown?
Yes, they did. About 3 years ago, they inducted him into the Hall of Fame.
Not the Medical Hall of Fame. The Baseball Hall of Fame. Bouncer to short. Nunez is there. One down. First ground ball out for Phil Hughes. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball with you wherever you go. One down. Michael Saunders, the batter. Saunders walked and scored in the first. Blue Jays getting 3 runs in the very first inning against Phil Hughes. And, 9 starts, what is it, 12 runs now in the first inning and 3 here today. And the hope is that he had his bad inning and now he can pitch deep into the ballgame.
Well, he did that against the Washington Nationals. He gave up a couple runs in the first inning. Twins lost 2-0, but he put zeros on the board after that. Sometimes as a pitcher, you're going to have a rough inning. It just so happened most of his starts this year, yeah, he's given up a lot of runs in the first 2 innings. But then after that, he settled down and at least give your club a chance. Twins scored 1 in the bottom of the second.
Swing and a miss. Now with 2 strikes, the Twins switch their infield. Nunez will come back over to the shortstop side of second base, and Plouffe will take his spot. They're positioned in the same places, just different personnel with 2 strikes. And now 2-2. That's how detailed things have gotten in terms of scouting players and the charts that are comprised for all the players, where they hit the ball, different counts. Driven foul. And I think we see the Twins do that far more than any other team we see. Changing shifts within an at bat.
And as a pitcher, you really can't worry about it as far as where they're playing. You still have to try to make quality strikes and stay with the strength that you have that day.
And missing with a breaking ball, 3-2.
I mean, what I'm saying is that, you're not going to throw more breaking balls because everybody is shifted over to the right side.
Lace to center over Hughes and quickly out to Santana, a 1-out single.
Saunders continues to swing a hot bat. Came in hitting .315. Walked in his first at bat and got a fastball up and lined it right back up the middle. Location not where Phil wanted it, and Suzuki sitting inside but left out over the plate. And the Blue Jays get their 5th hit.
Tulowitzki got an RBI double in the first inning. With the exception of Encarnacion's ground ball to start this inning, just about everything has been hit right on the screws here against Phil Hughes. Encarnacion popped up in the first. Bautista popped up, but The Blue Jays have come out swinging the bats here against Hughes and hit the ball hard. This one to deep left center, but Santana cuts across, makes the catch, 2 down. And that'll bring up Justin Smoke.
Yeah, only 1 ground ball out so far, and that was Encarnacion leading off the inning. Everything else in the air.
Twins close out this series, and then they'll play 3 more here against Kansas City. And really important, I think, for the Twins to rediscover home field magic, home field advantage, whatever you want to. They need to feel better about their chances of winning at home, because they've got a big stretch after this next road trip where they're playing just about every game for 3 weeks here at Target Field. Strike call.
Kansas City's been playing good baseball.
Yeah.
They've won 7 of their last 10 ball games.
Early lead against the White Sox. Twins will play after this West Coast road trip 17 of their next 20 here at home. Swagger is too strong of a term, because when you are where the Twins are with your 1-loss record, swagger is just a long-term goal. You can't, I don't think, have much swagger when you're 20 games below 500, but you do need to build up your confidence, and I think the confidence of your fan base that you're going to play good baseball at home. Yesterday was a step in that direction. Up and in, 2-1.
Mainly because they got a very good start from Pat Dean. And again, you know, you can talk about the lack of offense. Sometimes the defense has not played very well, but it all comes down to that guy 60 feet 6 inches away from home plate, and that's the pitcher.
2-1 to Smoke.
Especially the starter.
Nice pickup by Mauer. He backhands it, goes to the bag, and that ends the 3rd. Another hit for the Jays, but no damage done. It's 3-1, and Brian Dozier will lead off the 3rd. Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. 3-1 Jays. Brian Dozier leading things off. Hit a number in front of Josh Donaldson. It turned in a great play to throw him out in the 1st inning. And Stroman misses the target, which of course is set up, down and away. Ball 1.
You know what, Dick, I find it interesting. I want to kind of go with what Terry Ryan was talking about Brian Dozier in his meetings with the reporters, basically saying that, you know, Brian needs to be fixed. He's got to make an adjustment that's not working for him right now. 0 for his last 12 at bats, but I think what we've seen is that we can talk about it up here, but if your general manager is saying you need to get fixed, and you better make the adjustment or try something new. You know, something needs to be done.
Again, Stroman way off target. Got a pitch actually where Brian's been looking for it up and in, and he found flies out to left field.
And that's what we have seen from Brian. A lot of fly ball outs, and then when he does pull it, it's pulled on the ground. Has yet to really try to adjust to go the other way. I know it's, you know, that's in his mind, Brian's mind. I want to hit home runs, but you know, when you're hitting 200, you have to make the adjustments, because at this level, believe me, there are guys that are all-stars that all of a sudden 2 or 3 years later, they're out of the game of baseball because they cannot make the adjustment.
Look at the target. That's where they've been pitching, and then Stroman actually threw it where Brian's been looking to have pitches delivered all year long. 1-1 to Nunez. Nunez bounced to second, hit the ball pretty hard for the second out of the first inning. He would be among the league leaders in hitting if he had enough plate appearances. This one will hook foul. If he had enough plate appearances to be in the chart, on the chart for the league leaders. Toyota Key stat, he's reached base in 25 of 28 starts this year. He's 5 plate appearances short of qualifying. If he had enough plate appearances, he would be 5th in the American League in hitting right now.
Well, you know what Eduardo says himself, you know, in New York, when you're playing behind a Derek Jeter, he was put in the outfield to try to get his bat in the lineup in New York, but it's tough when you play once a week.
Donaldson with another good play, 2 down.
Now he's getting the opportunity to play every day.
Joe Mauer will hit, but first let's hear from Kevin Gord.
Yeah, guys, you guys mentioned earlier what a different month it's been here in May than Joe Mauer had in April, and he frankly said he hasn't done anything different, hasn't looked any different the way he's watched tape, he's been working in the cage, and he feels like at least recently he's starting to at least hit the ball hard again. He knows if he keeps the same approach, sooner or later some of those hits are going to drop in, but no question, he has mentioned he is frustrated with the numbers. He sees that. He got the walk earlier tonight in the ball game. Hopefully that can just build that confidence that maybe he's not getting the calls he was, but he feels like he's starting to hit the ball like he was back in April. Hopefully the numbers follow suit.
1 strike call. Thank you, Kevin.
You know, if you're expected to be one of the main guys on a ball club like Joe has been, and then you maybe don't play up the par.
What a pickup by Donaldson.
Great play by Donaldson right there, robbing Mauer of a hit.
Donaldson didn't play much in the game yesterday. He's had a great impact in the game here today with a home run and 2 really good defensive plays.
Just trying to stretch it out, put a little more on it, a little more effort, and it just doesn't feel right. You know, I mean, I think I'm in a better spot than I was 6 weeks ago. The disappointing thing is that was 6 weeks ago. You know, so I kept telling myself I was going to throw until that bullpen and then see how I felt in the bullpen, but I didn't think it was a good decision to push it that far. You know, for whatever reason, I don't know. but it's just not where it needs to be yet, and so we're going to take a little time off and continue rehab and then get back to playing catch later this week.
Swing and a miss, 1-1 to Russell Martin. That's Glenn Perkins talking about the setback he experienced here earlier in this homestand, playing some long toss in the outfield, and the shoulder that he said didn't feel quite right, so they are going to back him off and shut him down for a few days and then try to build him back up again.
You know, in the pregame we talked about Phil Hughes a little bit about leaving, you know, in the 7th inning in Detroit with 75 pitches, and he said he had arm fatigue, and I mentioned at the time, I'm not in that right shoulder of Phil Hughes. I don't know, and I guess the same can be said about Glenn Perkins. It's up to him to try to see if he can pitch through this. If there is pain, believe me, everybody out there is not 100%. It's just a matter of when Glenn can get it through his mind. The MRIs have said everything's clear. They don't see a tear, maybe some fraying, but believe me, you throw a baseball long enough, as long as Glenn Perkins or Phil Hughes have, you're going to have some fraying in that shoulder. So hopefully, you know, he will get out there as quick as possible, because the Twins need him. They need a healthy Glenn Perkins, but that's the key, a healthy Glenn Perkins.
Bullpen, as I think we described it the other night, been kind of a landmine for most of the year. Everybody out there has struggled, and a big part of that is everybody has had to step up one notch because Perkins is not there at the end. Jepson did a great job in the second half last year, but Kevin will tell you he's just not pitching as well as he did when Perkins was on the disabled list last year.
Well, if that MRI basically says that there's no structural damage, then you have to kind of fight through it and see how far your body will take you.
3-2 to Martin, then Barney and Pilar here in the 4th inning. Blue Jays have at least a hit in every inning, and here's a pop-up behind second base. Nunez didn't have to call Dozier off so much as second base umpire Andy Fletcher, who was standing right next to him. One down. Speaking of former Gophers and the Gophers, May 24th, it's Tuesday night. It's U of M night at Target Field. A limited number of University of Minnesota theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and maroon and gold Twins cap. Go to twinsbaseball.com/U of M. Learn more about the U of M theme night offer. And that leads us into belated congratulations to John Anderson and the Gophers for winning the Big Ten baseball championship. 1-0 to Darwin Barney.
Well, congratulations to them.
Pulled foul. And congratulations too to the University of North Dakota. They were honored before the game here for the National Collegiate Hockey Championship. 1-1. Barney hit a liner snagged by Arcia, leading off the second inning. Then Pilar, the next batter, hit pretty much the same ball about 5 feet further, and Arcia couldn't flag it down.
Yeah, Barney in his second season with the Blue Jays, coming over from the Dodgers last year. Came up with the Cubs in 2010.
2-2.
Both Chicago teams doing well. The White Sox have been struggling, though. They've only won 2 of their last 8 ball games.
And a base hit to center. Barney gets his second hit. Rounding first and slamming on the brakes. A 1-out single here in the 4th. Time now for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. News and notes from around baseball. David Wright, I like what he said afterwards. He had a 3-0 count when he got the single, and he didn't even look at the coach to see whether he should take it. He said sometimes you need to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Mookie Betts with a couple of home runs and a romp over the Indians, and Matt Wieters on his birthday turned around a game that was 1-0 with a 2-out 3-run home run in the top of the 9th.
Happy birthday to him, belated.
Strike one. Talking about the White Sox, they're going to try at home to win the final game with Kansas City, and as well as the White Sox had been playing, they are struggling, and this is a kind of a, to the extent you can have one of these in the month of May, kind of a statement series between the defending champion Kansas City Royals and the team that was in first place, the Chicago White Sox. White Sox winning, or the Royals rather, winning the first 2 games. They're now 2 games above 500.
You know, and with the White Sox struggling, what that does, I know the Twins are 13.5 games back, but it pushes everybody else closer to that first place. And Detroit right now 2 games under 500. They're only 4.5 games behind the White Sox.
And that's one of the things you hold on to. This Twins team is awful, as the record is. They've played very well against the Indians and won both series. And the White Sox have come back to the pack. There goes the runner, and the hit ball line to left field. Another well hit ball against Phil Hughes.
Yeah, Pilar picks up his second hit, so a couple runners on with 1 out.
That'll bring up Bautista. Started the ball game here today in familiar fashion with yet another home run.
Well, 3 home runs so far in the series. A big 2-run home run yesterday, and then here against Phil Hughes, that line drive home run just over the wall. And again, 14 home runs hit here at Target Field, more than any opposing player. So not the guy you want to face with a couple runners on for Phil Hughes.
On the ground, should be 2. Nunez to Dozier, and a double play. 2 more singles for the Blue Jays, but they don't score on the 4th, and it's still 3-1. Day, as you look at U.S. Bank Stadium, in a couple of months they'll be playing football there. Of course, the site of the Metrodome, what used to be there, and leads us into our carsoup.com trivia question: which Blue Jays pitcher hit the most player hit the most home runs in the Metrodome? Well, there were a lot of them.
Carlos Delgado, maybe.
George Bell.
How about Fred McGriff?
Could be. 2-0.
We'll just keep throwing names out there.
Danny Ainge. 2-0 to Plouffe. Fouled off the mask of Martin, Plouffe, Park, and Grossman.
Trevor looking for his first hit in the series, 0 for 13.
And off the plate, 3-1. Twins have just 1 hit. RC has doubled. They've taken 2 walks. Tap foul. An interesting ball game last night for the Twins AAA team. Jose Barrios made his first AAA start for Rochester. He went 5 innings, struck out 8, gave up 1 run, but walked 5.
Right.
But offensively, quite a night for some notable people. Here's a ball line to the second baseman. And Barney makes the catch, one away. Twins have hit a couple of balls hard here lately against Stroman. And that'll bring up Young-Ho Park. Byron Buxton played his first game since having some back spasms and sitting out about a week. He went 2 for 5. He is hitting .307. Max Kepler continues to hit the ball well. He went 1 for 3. He's hitting .267, but the average is climbing, and he had to leave the game because of a stomach virus. Park quickly retired, 2 down. Eddie Rosario 1 for 5. He's only hitting .154 since his demotion. But the headliner last night was Adam Brett Walker, who's gaining quite a reputation for his prodigious power. He hit 3 home runs in the ball game, and he hit them against rehabbing former major league closer Brad Boxberger. So this was a guy with considerable major league experience, and he crushed 3 of them.
Yeah, the big thing for Walker is too many strikeouts.
Yep.
He's a lot like Chris Carter now with the Brewers. You know, when he does make contact, the ball jumps off his bat, but he does strike out a lot.
His strikeout rate kind of similar though to Miguel Sano's. You know, Sano's here, and Adam Brett Walker, usually the designated hitter. If he had to play a position, it would be as an outfielder. Twins have plenty of DHs on the team. Park, of course, primarily the designated hitter. 1-1 to Grossman. Drew a walk, had a really good plate appearance, worked the count full and got the walk, and now called strike 1 and 2.
He's had probably the best quality at bat since he put on the uniform in a long time for him. 4 for 7 with a double, home runs, driven in 3 runs.
And a strikeout in the dirt. Martin with a casual flip to first, and it's a 1-2-3-4.
And the first time that he struck out in a Twins uniform.
It's that time of the day. Yes, it's the Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle. A family having a great time from Lakeville here. Tyler is 25. His Aunt Kim is 60. One's on the front 9, one's on the back 9. They're both having birthdays. They're going to get 100 scratch-off tickets from the lottery. Tyler, you've been here for the last couple of games, and today you're in the shade. You got your family, and it's your birthday. How are you doing?
It's fantastic. Good company, good weather, so a nice win here would be icing on the cake.
Circled by Bird Bly 11 guys and 100 scratch-off tickets from the Minnesota State Lottery.
Happy birthday, you all, and you are hereby circled.
Phil Hughes missing the inside corner and Josh Donaldson, and the second one behind him, and that's a message because of what Donaldson did after he crossed home plate.
Yeah.
Here comes John Gibbons, and Donaldson saying, why not a warning? This was the second one. Phil Hughes missed him twice. And
yeah, Phil Hughes has better control than that. Yeah,
Donaldson,
that was the intention. Go ahead and drill him.
And I think he tried. I honestly do. Now Suzuki and Donaldson having a chat. Here's the first pitch.
Yeah, watch your first pitch. Tried to get him in the hip and missed him. And then the second one behind him. So definitely a message right there by Phil Hughes to Donaldson.
Joe West will try to wrap things up here. Donaldson, when he homered, crossed home plate, glared in the Twins dugout, which I saw, but I did not see what he did as he crossed home plate. Okay, there's celebration at home plate. And Gibbons has just been tossed. And then watch Donaldson look in the Twins dugout and spit.
Well, that's a little retaliation of what the Twins were yelling at him yesterday. That's part of the game.
Well,
you know, it's
what I don't understand, and I'm going to side with John Gibbons on this. I think the Twins tried to hit Donaldson. I think there was intent, and I understand why John Gibbons is upset. Donaldson's upset, and Joe West has to come in, and I think it was West who ejected Gibbons. Right. I think warnings should have been given under the current template that we play under.
Right, and you know what? How many times we see Ron Gardenhire get thrown out because of that situation?
And now West has some parting words for Kurt Suzuki, probably saying, all right, enough of this nonsense. You had your chance twice. You missed him. Let's move on. So it's 2-0 to Donaldson. And a breaking ball lifted in foul territory. Mauer adjusting him and making a catch on the warning track. He had to stagger under that a little bit. And Donaldson a little upset, as he was in the first inning yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the game. But Joe Mauer right there, you saw him really fighting the sun. And then with that big first baseman's glove, reaching out, making the out.
And Encarnacion spins from his heels and fouls it back. One and one. Encarnacion has yet to hit the ball hard against Hughes, popping up in the first, grounding out in the third. 1-2.
Trying to swing, trying to hit that ball over Minnie and Paul right there. But these guys do swing hard, especially the first three batters of this lineup: Batista, Donaldson, and Encarnacion.
And Hughes found the baseball, flipped quickly to first, 2 down. All right, I just want to backtrack, hoping that none of this is regurgitated, pardon the phrase, but were the Twins justified in trying to retaliate for Donaldson spitting in their direction?
You know what? I don't know. That's kind of a thing between the players on the field. I think everybody handles it differently. Donaldson, of course, you know, his remarks yesterday were not to the home plate umpire, but to the Twins dugout for what they were saying about him not hustling down the line. You know, I look at that as part of the game. I like it. I like the fire that you know, both clubs have to show sometimes. It's out of respect, but it's also playing the game. Donaldson, a guy I said this first at bat, he's brought a lot of desire, determination, stubbornness to the Toronto Blue Jay ball club that has helped them get into postseason last year, and it's a great attitude to have on the field. And
1-2.
And if Phil Hughes was trying to hit him, he did a terrible job.
Well, Hughes,
you know, and Phil last time out took himself out after 75 pitches, and he said, you know, that right shoulder just doesn't feel good. And I guess you could kind of go and say, you know, even today, no strikeouts for Phil.
Liner.
A lot of the balls hit like that. You know, he doesn't, not as sharp as we want to see Phil Hughes. So maybe that arm is bothering him a little bit, that shoulder.
Pepsi fans of the game. Twins hoping to win today, get a split of this 4-game series. Oswaldo Arcia will be the first man in the box in the bottom of the 5th. And a pitch outside, ball 1. Tapper right side, right at Darwin Barney, and Arcia is retired 1-1. 9 in a row sent down by Marcus Stroman. Twins Flex Plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game, so don't plan, Flex Plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. Here's Suzuki. Drove in the Twins run with a ground ball. And a chopper foul. On this date in Twins history, 7 years ago, Michael Kadire hit for the cycle. There have been 10 Twins batters who hit for the cycle. Suzuki just take a single here, trying to get that milestone hit, take the ball out of the game.
Yeah, get it over with and work on your next 1,000.
And now 1-2.
Now Kurt Suzuki came up with the Oakland A's in 2007. Played for the Nationals, went back to Oakland in his 3rd season with the Twins.
And now Suzuki's hit by Stroman. And no warnings issued again, and nor do I think there should be. I mean, Stroman's kind of been erratic with his control. Russell Martin's glove's been moving all over the place behind the plate.
It kind of looked like a breaking ball too, so it wasn't like a fastball in on the rib area. It was just something up that Suzuki took.
And now Santana, who went down swinging his first time up. Tapped, foul, 1 strike. Twins put a 5 spot up in the 8th inning to come from behind and win. They'd like to start to come back a little earlier here in the 5th. And another Tapper foul, and that got the home plate umpire Mark Ripperger.
Russell Martin right there making sure he's all right.
That's not looking good. A foul tip into the ground, and it got past Martin and got Ripperger.
Dave Prumer, the Twins head trainer, out.
Half of you and our viewing audience can relate on some level to what Ripperger is going through.
Oh, I'm sure the other half can too.
One thing that has always puzzled me, the way umpires are now trained, and we certainly hope Ripperger is going to be okay and able to continue, but you could see there how exposed the home plate umpire was, sitting over the inside shoulder of the catcher. And I still go back to the days of the 60s. Here he is. He's 3/4 of his body is exposed to a foul tip. And we saw the other day, was it Andy Fletcher, I believe, on a high fastball that was a Centeno didn't catch, and the ball hit him right in the collarbone. And I've often wondered why the umpires union, why they wouldn't consider going back to the balloon protector, where none of that would happen.
Yeah, but you know, as they set up the umpires, then the catcher shifts over and he leaves them exposed. Some umpires will move with the catcher. Well, Ripperger right there, he just stayed right there, which left him open for what happened.
2 strikes to Santana.
Now they struck out Santana with a fastball inside in his last at bat. Good block by Martin.
That was a good block.
Suzuki has to stay at first.
And Ripperger really happy about the block. The ball landed 6 feet in front of the plate. One and two to Santana. Santana got the big double that drove in a couple of runs in the 8th inning last night. Checked his swing, we think. Strike 3, says Toby Basner. So Santana strikes out again on a pitch in the dirt.
Stroman picking up his 3rd strikeout. Santana for the 2nd time.
And that'll bring up Dozier.
Well, looks like another off-speed pitch right here.
Fox Tracks presented by Dodge.
Might have been that split finger changeup. And Danny unable to hold up.
Dozier with a number in front of Donaldson and a fly to left. He takes up high, ball 1. And now low, 2-0. Left center field, hit pretty well toward the gap, and a diving catch by Pilar. Kevin Pilar with a great catch, laying out in the gap. Second time that Dozier's seen the Toronto defense take a hit away. This an extra base hit that would have scored a run. Two outs. He was off with the crack of the bat. If that ball had hit the ground, Suzuki would have scored, and who knows what might have happened after that. But none of that happened.
Yeah, great running catch, diving catch by Pilar.
Troy Tulowitzki will lead off, is leading off the 6th. He's just taken strike 1 from Phil Hughes. And now lifted foul, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Phil has faced 23 batters now. He's been able to get strike 1 on 18 of their 23.
And while the Blue Jays have some hits after the 1st inning, no further run damage, and that continues a pattern. Brad Radke had it. I don't know how you get rid of it. I know in Radke's case they tried a double warm-up period in the bullpen to try to get him through whatever the hiccup was in the first inning.
Well, you know what? You wait 5-6 days sometimes to get on that mound, and I went through it throughout my career too. I think everybody that pitches a long time, it takes a while to get adjusted out there, and you make a couple bad pitches in the first inning to get the feel of everything, what the umpire is going to give you, and all of a sudden, you know, you're down. As for Phil Hughes, down 3-0 after 1. Then you relax a little bit, catch your breath, and hopefully put zeros on the board from there on out.
High fly center field, and Santana retreats, gliding underneath it. We hope makes the catch on the edge of the track, one down. Well, this ball looked like it was headed to the gap, and Pilar, with great speed, took a good angle at it and caught it.
If you're a baseball fan, you love to see center fielders that have speed and aren't afraid to leave the earth to make a catch. Watch this right here.
Like we said the other night, seems like 3 out of 4 times you see an outfielder hit the ground. They don't really need to do that, but Pilar in that case had to lay out to make the catch. One down here in the top of the 6th. Smoke with a liner to center. And another base hit for Toronto. Twins have just the 1 hit. Blue Jays now have 8. This Sunday Blue Jays and Twins game on Fox Sports North is presented by Super America. Get your Knothole Kids Day vouchers at any local Super America.
And you can kind of see what the Blue Jays, you know, what they're going against Phil Hughes. They're ready for that first pitch. They're going to be swinging.
Paul Molitor talking about the big sluggers, Donaldson, Bautista, and he probably could have named a few other guys too. They go up looking to attack the first pitch. Now there was a cutter and Martin swung through it, but and this gets technical, so I'm not the best guy to talk about this, but he talked about how even the sluggers, even the Bautistas, their bat is in the hitting zone a long time, and I think what he means is they have a level swing. It's not the down and up or the uppercut swing that you're talking about. It's a vicious swing, but the plane of the bat cuts parallel to the ground through the strike zone.
Yeah, they don't drop that right hand, say, to get underneath that ball to create that. They do it by the barrel of the bat staying solid, and they hit the meaty part of the bat, not of the baseball, not the top half or the bottom half.
2 strikes now to Martin.
And Martin, one of those guys that's having a tough time squaring up with that baseball.
If you have that level swing and you hit the bottom third of the baseball, you're going to get backspin. It's going to carry farther, and if you hit it on the barrel, it's going to travel a long ways. There's your physics lesson for the day. 1 and 2. Up, and it's 2 and 2.
I started to mention last inning, Phil Hughes without a strikeout here. He had only 1 strikeout in his last outing against the Tigers. Ryan Presley starting to warm up in the bullpen.
And since pitch count was such a controversial statistic in his last start, this will be number 90. And a weak pop-up hit to Dozier. And Dozier with a glance to Martin to make sure he was running out of the box. Otherwise, he was thinking of letting it drop and maybe trying to get a double play. Next Sunday, it's the longest race in the NASCAR circuit with the Coca-Cola 600 at 4:30 Central on Fox, or watch all the Memorial Day weekend events on Fox Sports Go.
That was actually a pretty good pitch by Phil Hughes right there, just up a little bit, and all Martin could do was got underneath that ball, create that pop-up.
Darwin Barney is lined to right and single to center. Watch Dozier here as the ball goes up in the air. He gives a glance to the batter to make sure that he's running to first. I don't know if we could see it there or not, but he did look at the batter, and if Martin had done, say, what Donaldson did yesterday and didn't come out of the box running very hard, the Twins, if Dozier had been able to field the bounce, could have been able to get perhaps a double play. So it's a heads up non-play by the second baseman, just giving the hitter a look. Hard to do that at the Metrodome because the ball would hit and bounce about 40 feet in the air and everybody would be safe. Half swing, but a strike. All right, let's take again a look at Dozier. Looked at him there, then looked back up. And then after the catch, he gave him another look, I believe. 2-1 to Barney. Up with a cutter. 2-2.
94 pitches for Hughes. Probably his last inning, as you saw Presley start to loosen up. 61 strikes. Good strike to ball ratio. Just that first inning you'd like to have back, but you can't do that.
And now 3-2. Smoke will leave early from first. Mauer looking in the dugout. And looks like they want him to hold the runner. With Pilar on deck. Might be Hughes' last hitter in any event. Pilar stung the ball twice against Hughes here today. Runner goes, and a pitch popped up. And Dozier, shielding his eyes from the sun with his glove, makes the catch. A scoreless sixth. And a quality start for Phil Hughes. Hughes had the rough first inning, but he did about as well as you can do controlling this Toronto lineup after that.
Yeah, again, one walk, no strikeouts for Phil Hughes. And he worked 6 innings. He kept the club in the game after that rough first inning. Back-to-back home runs led off this ball game. One more run was added.
It'll be Nunez, Mauer, and Plouffe. Nunez 0 for 2, Mauer 0 for 1, and Plouffe 0 for 2. The only hit the Twins have gotten is a solid double to right center off the bat of Arcia. And talking about the Blue Jay sluggers and the flat plane that their swing typically has, Paul complimented Nunez and said he's got the same thing going. And I think we see that with Nunez. You know, the launch angle or whatever angle you want to talk about, he hits high line drives and hard ground balls. You don't see pop-ups very often from Nunez. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but you know, the ball leaves his bat in a much smaller range of angle than most hitters. I think because, well, here's for him a very high fly ball.
Yeah, he just got underneath that baseball a little bit. Count was in his favor. And just got underneath it. He hit it a long way, but it's a fly ball out. So.
You just don't see Nunez pop up very often or chop the ball very often.
See the pitch away. Nunez, what he does so well, he's trying to take that ball the other way. You can almost see, you know, but he hit it to a deep part in right center, but it just had too much airtime.
Here's Mauer, drew a walk in the first. Hit a smash to Donaldson's glove side in the third inning, and Donaldson made the play. Strike one on the outside corner.
Yeah, this game a lot like yesterday's ball game when A.J. Happ had not allowed but one hit until that 8th inning.
Swing a foul, 2 strikes.
The only hit in this ball game was a double by Arcia in the 2nd inning.
To the shortstop. And Tulowitzki over the first 2 down. And that'll bring up Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe with a bouncer to short, and then he hit a line drive to a shifted Darwin Barney. Not shifted to the left side of second base, but shifted more up the middle. And Trevor's batting average has taken a hit here on this homestand, down to 250. Big pop up left side. Tulowitzki on the edge of the out. Grass makes the catch, and a quick 1-2-3-6 from Marcus Stroman. Here's the Grand Casino story of the game.
Well, right off the get-go, the Toronto Blue Jays show what they're all about, and that's power. Batista with a leadoff home run in the first inning, and then followed by Josh Donaldson's home run, a back-to-back home run. That ball straight away center. Later in the inning, an RBI double by Tulowitzki made it an early 3-0 lead. Twins came back in the second and scored a run. Suzuki picking up an RBI on infield out, and that's it. Ryan Presley coming in out of the ball game, so Phil Hughes works the first 6 innings. Presley been used a lot out of that bullpen, making his 22nd relief appearance, and for the Twins this is their 43rd game.
Kevin Pillar to lead things off. A couple of base hits against Phil Hughes. And Presley gets a foul ball, 1 strike. Pillar with a great catch in the gap. 1-out double in the second. A 1-out single in the fourth. It'll be Pillar, Bautista, and Donaldson. And that ball, a breaking ball, and Ryan's just had a tough time repeatedly making that breaking ball a competitive pitch. One thing to throw it in the dirt, but you want to throw it on the other side of home plate. That one landed 3 feet in front of the plate.
Yeah, I think he's one of these pitchers that needs to go with just his curveball or his slider. He's trying to throw both, and he's got a very good curveball.
Was foul.
But the fastball at times, that two-seamer, we'll see that thing sink. But the relievers too many times are throwing that high fastball that is just straight. And that's where they've really been hurt. The bullpen combined in the month of May has not been good. An ERA over 7.
Trevor May really struggling with that. Getting too much of the plate with the fastball. And that skips by Plouffe into left field. Pilar rounds first. He'll hold up there with Grossman getting there quickly.
That's a ball right there. Trevor tried to play on the side, and rather than maybe getting in front of it. And it should be an error on Trevor Plouffe. It's only his 2nd error of the year.
TORSoup.com trivia question: which Blue Jays player hit the most home runs in the Metrodome? I'm going to go George Bell. And you mentioned Carlos Delgado.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
Runner at first. Here's Bautista. Hit into a double play his last time up. Homered to start the ball game.
And this is a guy that we've seen Presley use that two-seamer. If you're going to throw a fastball, you want some movement on it, because this guy has shown he can hit a fastball.
Today.
Well, only today?
And as recently as today.
And work the outer half of the plate. You see where Kurt's set up. Good hard breaking ball right there.
You're right. That does look like a slider more than a cutter. 90 miles per hour with some significant movement. Kind of hard to scrap that pitch.
Sometimes, you know what, relievers come in, especially like Ryan. He's got 4 pitches, but doesn't throw his changeup that often. There's a better breaking ball right there. But he also has that curveball that's straight over the top, and this would be a good spot to throw it if you trust your catcher in blocking it.
The one he tried to throw to Pilar ended up about 55 feet from the rubber.
It's going to be another hard breaking ball here. And Pilar, keep an eye on him. Jays don't run a lot. They have 14 stolen bases. They've been caught 5 times, but Pilar has 4 stolen bases in 5 attempts. Ryan Presley stepping off. Now just looking up Phil Hughes. The last time Phil Hughes pitched and started a ball game where he did not have a strikeout. You have to go back to September 2nd of 2013.
Still with the Yankees back then.
Yep.
Inside with a fastball.
There's that two-seamer fastball right there. I think Suzuki wanted to go back to the slider, but Presley wanted that fastball in, down and in. Now, do you go back in there again? I know if you're going to go in, miss down and in like he did, or do you go back to a breaking ball? He tried the slider right there and missed.
And Suzuki will.
Yep. They're not on the same page right now. Ryan has an idea. Quick trip to the mound by Kurt Suzuki. Yeah, you know what? And the last time that Phil Hughes didn't have a strikeout in the ball game, I said September 2nd of 2013. He only went 1 1/3 innings. He started that ball game injured, ended up getting hurt. So he's usually, a guy over his career has averaged 7 strikeouts. So that kind of tells me that maybe that shoulder's not as strong as he wants it to be. He only had 1 strikeout in his last start.
2-2 to Bautista.
Part of his game.
Fouled away. We've talked about it with I think Jack Morris when you were taking your well-earned vacation. That what's happened to Hughes, for whatever reason, the top end of the fastball is not what it once was.
Right.
We saw 92. I don't think we saw 93, where Hughes in his first year with the Twins was throwing 94, 95, and then a cutter at 89. Another 2-2 to Bautista. That's a foul ball.
Well, guess what? You get older.
Well, I know.
And when you get older, your fastball, maybe it doesn't have that same zip anymore. So you have to rely more on control.
But when the cutter and the regular fastball are compressed in terms of the range, that would seem to me to make a certainty that neither pitch is as effective.
But I can honestly say I've watched Phil every start that he's had, even though I am on vacation here or there. But you know what? It comes down to that cutter is not as sharp as it has been over the last couple years. So now you have to rely on more breaking balls, more changeups. And even though he got hit around in that first inning, he did his job and put zeros on the board over the next 5 innings.
Full count here. Presley to Bautista. And Pilar takes off. Pitch popped up, and Pilar slams on the brakes and will get back. And Suzuki with that one-handed grab one away.
There's a good breaking ball right there. Even though, you know, this breaking ball was up, breaking balls are hard to hit solid. And Bautista, as hard as he swings, he got underneath that to create the pop-up. So a good first out for Ryan Presley.
And now Josh Donaldson's had an interesting afternoon. Had an interesting day yesterday. Ejected in the first inning for some misdirected profanity. Misinterpreted profanity, I guess. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball.
You can see, I mean, he's guessing fastball right there because he missed that by a foot.
Donaldson hit a fly ball to Arcia in the second after his first inning home run. Then leading off the fifth, Phil Hughes appeared to try twice to hit him in the hip and missed both times. There goes Pilar. The pitch hit to high and deep center field. Santana back at the wall, makes the catch. And Pilar will retreat to first base. Just missed hitting another home run to center field.
Well, let's go back to the end of last inning. Trevor Plouffe popping up right there. A little upset at himself. Stroman may have said something to him, I don't know, but Trevor Plouffe kind of looked at him.
Chirping back and forth. It's not that uncommon in Stroman starts. He's very animated out there. Here's Encarnacion. Down and in, ball one.
You know, you can respect the other team. It doesn't mean you have to like them.
Well, I think understand why the Twins were upset with Donaldson for spitting in their direction. I can understand why Donaldson was fired up to play today after having his profanity misinterpreted by the home plate umpire, thinking it was intended for him when it was intended for the Twins dugout. But if he ran the ball out hard to begin with, none of this would have happened. 1-0 to Encarnacion. And now 2-0.
Ryan, 27 years old, in his 4th season with the Twins.
Bouncer to third. Waist high hop for Plouffe. And he fires across. And it's a scoreless 7th for Ryan Presley. Interesting afternoon at the ballpark. The weather absolutely glorious. We're lucky that we're here. We're thankful you are there watching Twins baseball. And during the 7th inning stretch, as it is our custom on Sunday afternoons, we bring you God Bless America.
Folks, we ask you now to please rise and welcome the Northfield High School Choir as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
Scoring 3 runs in the first inning. Twins 1 in the second. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC. This game's kind of playing out like it did yesterday.
I wonder if they'll have the same finish.
I hope so.
Young Ho Park will lead off the 7th. Twins with 5 runs in the 8th inning to win the ball game yesterday. So far today, just 1 hit.
Yeah, Park really struggling at the plate right now. 0 for his last 16. So see if he can get a base hit here to start the bottom of the 7th.
Check swing 2-0. And a strike, 2-1. Park, Grossman, and Arcia. And time called.
Stroman with a couple walks in the ball game, 3 hits, or excuse me, 3 strikeouts, only 1 hit allowed. See the pitch count at 81, 49 strikes.
Chop to the right side. Easy play for Barney. 1 away. That'll bring up Robbie Grossman. Coming up Tuesday, it's the 12th annual Kids in the City, celebrating the Fox Sports North Boys and Girls Club All-Stars. The event starts with a pregame party at Fulton Brewery, followed by the Twins and Royals game at Target Field. You can visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar for details.
10 ground ball outs for the Twins in this ball game, 6 fly ball outs. And another
nice backhanded pickup by Smoke. The ball bounced over the bag, and Smoke on the backhand side was able to scoop it for out number 2.
Yeah, very, very good with the glove, Justin Smoke. Former #1 pick by the Rangers back in 2008 out of the University of South Carolina.
How about Joe West, first base umpire? He was so confident Smoke was going to make that catch. He never moved.
Well, I got to realize, you know, he's up there. This is his 39th year of being an umpire. So, yeah, there's a reason why he didn't move.
Here, I'm trying to compliment the man.
Maybe somebody woke him up. Got to take cat naps here or there, you know. He's been around the game a long, long time. Heck, he umpired when I pitched. That's how long he's been umpiring.
Joe West, that Joe West, not Joe West Sr.
Well, Joe West was a National League umpire.
Right.
When they had the National League and American League umpires.
1-1 to Arcia. He has the only Twins hit. And Stroman couldn't have had a quicker 1-2-3 7th inning. And it's still 3-1 Toronto.
With this Mall of America studio update. On this day in baseball 7 years ago, Michael Kadire became the 10th Twin to hit for the cycle. Started it with a 3-run home run, finished it with a triple in the 6th inning against the Brewers, part of an 11-3 win. That was on this day in baseball 7 years ago. Dick and Bert.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Kadire and Jason Kubel each hit it for the cycle in that year, and no one's hit for the cycle since. The Twins as a team haven't hit for the cycle today. They just have Arcia's double, and that's it. Taylor Rogers comes in to pitch to the Blue Jays in the 8th inning.
Yeah, Taylor Rogers making his 4th major league relief appearance. He first came up when Glenn Perkins was put on a disabled list back in the middle of April and then optioned out 6 days later and then recalled back on the 17th of this month. He worked here on Friday night. He did give up a home run to Michael Saunders in the 9-3 loss to the Blue Jays.
Saunders, Tulowitzki, and Smoke to hit for Toronto here in the 8th. And there's a strike on the first offering. Oh and 1. Now to left toward the corner. Grossman cuts it off, but deep on the warning track, and it's a leadoff double here in the 8th for Michael Saunders.
Yeah, second time Rogers has faced Saunders. I said here on Friday night, Saunders took him deep over the right field wall. Here this time, just taking a pitch the other way, picks up his second hit on his 11th double.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Fastball, you see where it's at, belt high. And Saunders again continues to swing a great bat for the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays certainly have had plenty of hits here. They came into this series with the lowest team batting average in the American League. They've scooted past Houston, Tampa Bay, and the Twins. And of course, what makes their lineup so fearsome isn't just the hits, it's the number of extra base hits, home runs, and doubles. Tulowitzki with an RBI double in the 1st inning. He drove in the 3rd Toronto run. Ball boy comes out to get a plastic bag or some sort of debris.
Yeah, it started over behind Tulowitzki, went out toward the mound, and they ended up in foul territory, so it was taken off the field.
Behind the Twins dugout, a foul ball, 1-1. Tulowitzki's gotten his average over the 200 mark in this series. You know, that's the difference between a lineup like Toronto's that has established hitters. You can pretty much expect what they're going to do. Now, even veteran hitters are going to have disappointing years, and the average, the home run production might be down a bit. But when you played as long as Bautista, Encarnacion, Tulowitzki, guys like that, you have reason to expect what a player is going to do over the course of a long season.
Well, even like Russell Martin, he's been struggling. Tulowitzki's struggling, but you know what? 10 years, you know, his average for 10 years with 297. And 2 good breaking balls right there by Rogers. Picks up a big strikeout.
Leaving Saunders at second base with 1 out.
Saunders still at second. Second straight good hard breaking ball. You can see the nice tight break. And like right-handers like to get left-handers down and in. For Rogers, good pitch to a right-hander down and in.
Justin Smoke, 1 for 3.
Smoke hitting it from the right side of the plate where he's hitting 242. Not as many at bats, of course. Then from the left side, another good breaking ball for a strike at 77 miles an hour.
So you look at the Toronto lineup, you could have said the same thing about the Tiger lineup. And I think in retrospect, the Twins front office, the Twins broadcasters, and I think a lot of the fans too, imagined what we saw last year and were inclined to project what Sano would do, what Rosario would do, what they hoped Buxton would do over the course of a full season. when in reality, all those inexperienced players, we shouldn't have projected anything because we don't know.
You don't know, and that's the thing where the Toronto Blue Jays kind of know. You know, Smoke's been around since 2010. He's had, you know, up and down seasons.
He's had years like maybe Rosario's going to have this year. And 2-2.
Well, one of those years really last year, he hit only .226 for the Blue Jays in his first season, but he hit 18 home runs and drove in 59 in 132 games. And another good breaking ball. So Rogers showing off that good breaking ball when he needs some strikeouts and picks up his second straight. Good tight rotation. Smoke swinging through it.
You know, as we were discussing it, Molitor to the mound, we got a shot of Miguel Sano. Let's remember this: a year ago, Miguel Sano was still in Double-A ball, and the Twins have put him in the lineup on an everyday basis and batted him third or fourth in the middle of the lineup. Rogers gives up a double to the first man, but comes back with a couple of strikeouts and a bullpen move in the eighth. What he could to try to cover up for the extra base hit with strikeouts of Tulowitzki and Smoke. And now Russell Martin will stand in against Michael Tonkin. Tonkin coming in for the 20th time this year.
So he's asked to come and get this one out right here to end the top of the eighth inning, and that's Russell Martin.
Tonkin, like the rest of the Twins relief corps, has really struggled here in recent outings.
Yeah, he pitched here on Friday night, just one inning. He did give up a home run to Barney. So got to come in, pick up a strikeout, something Tonkin's been able to do, pick up some strikeouts. 25 strikeouts in 21 innings pitched.
Twins have been out hit 9-1, trying to keep this a 2-run game. And the breaking ball clips the inside corner, strike one.
And that's important. I think that a lot of times these relievers come in and they want to trust their fastball. And Michael Tonkin has a good fastball, but it's important to get that secondary pitch over early. And then if you throw the fastball, make sure that it's down in the strike zone.
It's important for a starter, so too for a reliever. You have to establish your fastball, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to throw it every time on the first pitch, right?
Right, exactly. And you know, and I think that's what a lot of our guys out of the bullpen was doing. There's a slider right there, just blocked by Suzuki.
1-1.
I think last time that Trevor May came out, he challenged somebody, first pitch fastball, boom. I mean, I believe it was a home run right off the get-go.
Could have been in Detroit. It seemed to be a lot of that in Detroit in that middle game.
No, it was here against Batista.
Into the press box.
When Batista hit the 3-run home run here on Friday night. jumping on that first pitch. So it's important as a reliever. Yeah, you come in, you're known for having a good fastball, but that secondary pitch, you have to get it over.
1-2 to Martin. Just missed the outside corner with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. So a lot of off-speed stuff, and then he tried to zip one over the outside corner.
And that's where you want to stay. You just, you know, these are things, again, that, you know, with time you control that fastball better. Now a hitter's count here.
Busted bat in the foul.
And you saw Martin really open up right there.
But now,
ended up breaking his bat.
The pitch prior to the foul ball, if you're going to miss by 4 inches, you want to miss off the plate rather than 4 inches over the middle of the plate. We've seen a lot of that from the Twins relievers.
You know, pitching is nothing more than the art of visualization as far as throwing that ball where you want it. It's kind of like Bob Feller always told me, throw the ball through the window. I never thought what that was about when he first said it. I kind of laughed, but then it made sense. You know, a strike zone's nothing but a window, and you want to hit all 4 corners of that window. If you try to break that glass straight down the middle, guess what? You may not break the window.
There's a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, gets a strikeout, and the Jays don't take advantage of the leadoff double.
Jays, bottom of the 8th. Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll take a look at more power by the Toronto Blue Jays. They've got 9 home runs in this series. Marco Stroman cruising on a Sunday afternoon. We'll take you inside the clubhouse and hear from Twins manager Paul Mauder. And the only reason we're not talking about other things right now, the only hit of the day back in the second, Oswaldo Arcia. Guys, that's been it from Stroman today.
Since that double, he's given up just 1 base runner. That's when he hit Suzuki with a breaking ball with 1 out in the 5th. Thank you, Kevin. And a fastball, strike 1. Stroman's been very, very good. He's walked 2 men, he's hit 1, and Arcia clobbered a fastball for a double. That's been it. That's to right field, and there's career hit number 1,000 for Kurt Suzuki.
And it's only fitting that he took that pitch the other way, because when Kurt is swinging the bat well, he takes that pitch the other way. And the teammates know.
They got to take the ball out of play there. And congratulations to Kurt Suzuki. That's a really nice milestone.
Thanking the man above. 1,000 major league hits.
Now Danny Santana, we'll see if the Twins can duplicate what they did yesterday in the 8th inning when they scored 5 times. Outside, ball 1. Not a cheapie. Wasn't an infield hit. A solid single to right.
Well, again, when Suzuki's swinging a bat well, he'll take a lot of pitches up the middle the other way.
Santana takes outside 2-0.
It was Danny Santana in the 8th inning yesterday that got that big 2-run double that tied the game at 2 apiece.
Suzuki had just popped up trying to bunt the runners up, and then Santana picked him and the entire ball club up with a 2-run double. Now 2-1. Santana was convinced that was a strike. 2-1. Go inside and get another swinging strike. 2-2. Quicker breaking ball, or that cutter that darts under his swing. He's gone after it 4 times and not made contact.
That's how they struck him out in the first at bat. Watch Martin now sit outside.
And that's headed up the middle and knocked down by the second baseman. It's a base hit for Santana. Barney knocked it down but couldn't hold on to it. The Twins start the 8th with a pair of singles.
No, fastball left up a little bit, and Danny Santana makes contact and hits it right back up the middle. So a high fastball past Stroman. Barney diving for it just off the tip of his glove and then caroms away. And runners at first and second, nobody out.
And now Dozier at the plate, 0 for 3. The average down to 200.
Yeah, big at bat right here for Bryant.
Squaring, pulling the bat back, ball 1.
Bryant, what you want to do right here is with smoke coming hard in, you want to bunt that ball toward Donaldson at third base. Donaldson was playing back on that bunt. Make him feel the ball, because that allows the runners to advance a lot easier. Squaring around again.
Offered at it, 1-1.
And again, as a pitcher in this situation with the play that looks like the Blue Jays have on, your job as a pitcher is to cover that third baseline, because 2 pitches in a row, Donaldson has stayed pretty much where he's at.
Down and away, 2-1.
Dozier does have 1 sacrifice on the year.
And now 3-1 with Nunez on deck. Tapper to third, out there. Double play. And on the play, Santana goes to second base. On a 3-1 pitch. Dozier bounces into a double play, and that'll bring up Nunez.
Well, Nunez in second in yesterday's ball game hit that big 3-run home run, that off of Gavin Floyd. That gave the Twins the 5-2 lead. The score ended up 5-3.
On a 3-1 pitch with Stroman coming out, Nunez will try for another big hit. Here's the pitch to Dozier that he pulled to the third baseman, and this is what has caught everyone's attention really all year long.
As a pitcher, you keep the ball down and you can see where that pitch is, rather than trying to take that pitch the other way or up the middle. He hits that ball over to Donaldson, the force out at third, the throw across the diamond, and the 5 unassisted 3 double play.
Runner at second, 2 down, and Nunez will try to deliver another big 8th inning hit. hit today. He hasn't had many hitless games, and he is at the plate representing the tying run facing Osuna.
Yeah, Roberto Osuna, the closer here, has to get 4 outs.
And the first one might come awfully easily on the first pitch. Nunez flies to center, and a budding rally is snuffed out here in the 8th. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At Min Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Now to the 9th, and it'll be Darwin Barney leading things off. Breaking ball over the inside corner. Well, the Blue Jays made a mistake in the 8th inning. They got a leadoff double. They didn't even advance Saunders to third base. Twins bullpen doing a nice job getting 3 straight strikeouts. And then Twins started a rally in the bottom of the inning, 1st and 2nd, and very much a hitter's count. My goodness, it was 3-1 to Brian Dozier, and you knew that they didn't want to walk him to fill the bases. Foul back, still 2 strikes, and then the double play, and all the air went out of the balloon. Barney, Pilar, and Bautista.
You know, I hate to look at one at bat, but I think that kind of puts the icing on the cake for Brian Dozier as far as, you know, what are they going to do with him? They got to get him going to build up his confidence offensively. He's hitting, what, 200 situations like that, and with a fastball away where they've been pitching him, he's still trying to pull that ball rather than hit it up the middle or the other way. So it's up to the organization to decide what's best for Brian Dozier.
Well, not really. It's what's best for the organization.
Well,
you know.
Well, he's still a big part of this organization. You need a healthy and strong Brian Dozier as far as offense.
1-2 to Barney. And that's nubbed to the right side. Dozier. Well, the nice play. Barney can get down the line, and Dozier turns in a fine play. For
defense are one thing. You know, Brian's been struggling offensively. He has not taken it on the field with him. That ball has a lot of spin on it. And, of course, in the glove, you slow down that spin. The nice little backhanded flip over to Mauer to retire Barney. So a nice defensive play by Dozier.
Here is Pilar. 2 for 3. He's reached all 3 times. He hit a ball toward Plouffe. Trevor tried to backhand it. He kicked off the heel of his glove into left field for an error in the 7th.
I like what Tonkin's doing. He's getting that breaking ball over And that just makes that fastball a little bit better. And another good breaking ball.
And now 0-2. When you see 95-96, you see the angle that Tonkin throws his pitches. And you see an improving slider. You can understand why all the numbers aren't good for Tonkin, but you see snapshots of what he could be. 2 down.
3 very good breaking balls, sliders. And Pilar goes down on 3 pitches.
And now Bautista. Slower breaking ball, and he hits the corner. Looked like he took a little bit off of that breaking ball.
Strike 1. Bautista, we've seen, he sits dead red. There's little Bautista out there. And fastball just missing.
At 97. One and one. Boy, he's waiting for it. Somehow they didn't even have much hook on it.
You know what? It just shows how quick he is inside. Again, if you got to pitch this guy in, you have to pitch him off the plate. I'm talking about 5-6 inches off the plate. He is so quick. That pitch looked like it was going to hit him in the chest.
Just a long strike, right?
Yeah. A long hard strike.
Now a fastball off the plate.
We just have not really established anything down and away to Bautista. They're trying to go in, but he's too quick inside. So why try to go in there? Make him reach out for that baseball.
And now fouled the other way.
And if you go in, make sure it's way in.
One thing I think we've seen is Tonkin has pitched later in the ball games. There seems to be an increase in velocity. We used to see him at 94, 95. Now it's 96, 97. That's kind of what we saw from Trevor May last year.
Yeah, it was a slider that he wanted away and left it in, and Bautista hit it sharply down that third baseline. He does not get cheated up there. Bautista in his 9th season with Toronto.
High fastball got him at 97. A little fist pump for Michael Tonkin, and why not? A couple of strikeouts. He's struck out 3 in an inning and a third. Well, the Twins suddenly and dramatically came back in the 8th inning to win a ball game. Tonight they're left to do it in the 9th if they can. Mauer, Plouffe, and Park will hit against Osuna. Mauer's 0 for 2 with a walk. And a fastball, strike one. Osuna can get it up to, as you just saw, 97 miles per hour.
You see the numbers right there. 18 1/3 innings, 20 strikeouts, only 5 walks. He's allowed only 1 home run. Just 21 years old. 20 saves for the Blue Jays last year.
97 gets a swing and a miss. 0-2.
He's one of those guys that can overpower you.
To the leadoff man in the bottom of the 9th. Right, got the corner. A called 3rd strike. And Mauer's called out on strikes, 1 down.
Now 2 fastballs, then the slider that was a backdoor slider. See where Martin's sitting up.
Yeah.
And a good frame job by Martin. Even though Fox Tracks said it was a bit outside.
You could see the lateral movement of the catcher's mitt after he caught the ball, and Fox Tracks said it was outside. Here's Plouffe, up and away, ball 1. Would love to have gotten either Mauer or Plouffe aboard in front of Park and his team leading 9 home runs. It'll be left to Plouffe to do that. '97, and I used to hear Ron Gardenhire talk about it all the time. Other managers and coaches have talked about it. The ball just seems to come out of his hand real easily. Not a high stress delivery. That's punched to right, and Bautista is there for the catch. 2 down. Park will try to keep the game alive, and then the Blue Jays leave town and the Royals come to town. CenturyLink bringing you what's next. Ian Kennedy against Ricky Nolasco. Edison Volquez against Irvin Santana. Dylan G against Tyler Duffy. Here is Park. Half swing, but he went.
You know, we've kind of seen that from Park here over the last 3 or 4 games. That just that half swing, just uncertain of letting it go.
See a lot of that from Sano too.
Right. Again, Osuna only 21 years old.
Off the plate, 1-1.
Nicknamed Little Cannon. And he's got a cannon for an arm. Out of Mexico. Blue Jays signed him in 2011.
Foul tip, and it's 1-2. One and 2 to Byung-Ho Park. And the Blue Jays take 3 out of 4 from the Twins, scoring 3 runs in the first inning and then making that lead hold up.
Well, I thought it was going to be deja vu from yesterday's win over Toronto. They put a couple runners on in the 8th inning, but Twins were unable to answer and lost a tough ball game 3-1.
Tom Hanham and the Twins fall 1 game further below the 500 mark and will try to have a better series against the Kansas City Royals.
Dick, Toronto gets healthy at the Twins' expense, taking this series today, their 6th of the year. Up next on Twins Live, we'll talk about the home run tear Toronto was on in this series. Marcus Stroman's day. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and preview the series with Kansas City.